Modernize, not privatize. We've told you what we're against. Now here's what we're for.
This is the briefing paper in the form of an emergency checklist that AOPA is giving to lawmakers and other opinion leaders, spelling out exactly why we oppose privatization and the steps AOPA proposes to make a great air traffic control system even better. We'll tell you how to get your own copy in a moment, but here's what you should know should be done about ATC. First of all, stop sequestration. Remove ATC and modernization from the budget games or the shutdown game. Right now, for example, we're 44 days away from a possible FAA shutdown because airline lobbying efforts and congressional committee action has been directed to trying to privatize ATC rather than approving an FAA budget for the next fiscal year. Which leads to another point. Give the FAA a 2-year budget to provide a stable and predictable funding stream for operations and modernization.
We should require the FAA to work with industry to create a more agile and innovative procurement system and mandate that the FAA consolidate outdated and unneeded facilities. Give the Next Gen Advisory Committee more authority to guide and implement air traffic control modernization initiatives, and have that committee report directly to Congress on how additional Next Gen technologies would or would not reduce airline delays. The committee should also tell Congress what other steps could be taken to increase capacity.
And so the Next Gen Advisory Committee, AOP has been involved in that practically since the beginning, right?
We have, and despite the fact that we're on different sides with the airlines when it comes to privatization, we do work closely with the operational folks at the airlines on the Next Gen Advisory Committee. And we want to beef up what that committee already does. We already do a lot of good work in that committee. I co-chair the Next Gen Advisory Committee subcommittee, only in Washington, and we've got subcommittees and subcommittees. But the subcommittee is where we actually set the priorities, and I think we just need to give the NAC, the Next Gen Advisory Committee, more visibility.
Right. Okay. Well, that could be helpful. Meanwhile, as we mentioned earlier, you can get your own position paper on this checklist to share with your friends and neighbors, and most importantly, members of Congress. There's a new tab at the top of our website. You'll see it there on the left, and it will take you to all of our information on privatizing air traffic control. Why it would be bad for general aviation, why it won't fix the airline delay problem, and what you can do to help fight it. And this just in from the Congressional Budget Office. ATC privatization would increase the federal deficit by close to $100 billion over the next 10 years. CBO just scored the privatization legislation to determine the effect on the budget. Now that's a 5-fold increase over earlier estimates, as Congressman Schuster offers incentives to attempt to shore up support for that legislation.
Oh, and by the way, the people that say they can do a better job running the air traffic control system, you know, the airlines, their performance is just getting worse, according to the Bureau of Transportation Statistics. Passenger complaints are up, on-time performance is down, and that's because of things like airline schedules, crew management, maintenance problems, and old equipment that can't use the modern next-gen infrastructure already in place.
And why do we keep talking about this? Well, it's because the airlines haven't let up. This email from a group purporting to call itself Citizens for On-Time Flights attacks Captain Sully Sullenberger for the video he did opposing air traffic control privatization. But this group, pretending to be a grassroots people's organization, is really what folks in Washington call an AstroTurf group. If you read the small print, you'll discover that Citizens for On-Time Flights is really Airlines for America, the big airlines lobbying group. Surprise, surprise.